Good afternoon and welcome back, or welcome to the God Loves You Racing YouTube channel. Today is finally the day. This is the day that we're finally going to pull the motor, transmission, and get this car stripped down to where it's going to be nothing but a shell and a roll cage in the car. We got a lot of work to do today. There'll be a lot of time lapsing going on. I'll try and stop intermittently to kind of show you the progress and show you some intricacies about the car that give it some character. But this is the day I have been looking forward to for 2 months now, as we've been working on the steering system and all to get it straightened out and fixed. So I want to thank all y'all for joining us along this journey. As you can tell, the video looks a little different. I got me a GoPro camera to start vlogging these, as my phone was kind of getting backed up to where I run out of video storage. So we're going to get a lot of work done on this thing today, and I'm hoping by the end of the day here today that that we'll have engine, transmission, and the rear end out from underneath the car to where she'll be as close to a shell as possible. I'll get the front and rear glass took out this week, and hopefully soon we can start stripping the paint off the engine bay here and get going on this project, because once this motor and transmission comes out and this car goes down, hopefully things are going to move along a lot quicker than they have been. So strap in and let's get started. You know, something that I wanted to show you before we got started with the time lapse today is an interesting thing about these cars is you can pull the oil pan off the car without removing the engine and without really a lot of work involved. So we're going to take a look underneath here. I will get better with my GoPros, but as you can see, I've got the oil pan off the car. And the only thing you really have to take off for these cars is the drag link that would go across here. And normally I would just take it apart, take it loose from a tie rod end and the steering box off the pitman arm, and I'd slide, swing it out of the way. But since I go on a rack and pinion, I just got to take the 4 bolts here and the 4 bolts over there off and disconnect the steering and the tie rods, and the whole unit comes off. So it's not very difficult to get it off of here, but yeah, you can change the oil pan on these cars really easy. And also too, something that I have come up with years ago is the block fittings where you can drain the block. I put a piped A-end fitting and put a cap on it, so when I want to drain the block, I can just pull this cap off right here and it will drain straight down into a drain pan, making it a lot easier and a lot less messy when draining the water or antifreeze, whatever you got in your car, out of it. So there's your nice little hack for when you want to update something. Put a 45-degree piped A-end fitting there where your block drain plug goes on a small block Chevy, and you can actually drain the water straight out of the block. And you can drain both sides at the same time with one of those oversized drain pans you can get from the parts house. So you can drain both sides of the block at the same time simultaneously, to where it will drain your block a lot faster and it'll get done a lot cleaner, where you're not making hardly any mess at all. So all right, now we're going to get to the time lapse here of getting this motor pulled out. I change my oil pump every year in this car, because years ago I had where I was getting ready for a race day and cranking the motor up just to warm it up, just to see how it, and make sure that I had no noises or anything like that. And oil pressure would drop when I would rev the engine, and I changed the oil filter. That didn't do it, so I ended up changing the oil pump, and that fixed it. So I don't know, with some of the alcohol dilution, fuel dilution in the oil caused it to eat away at the gears in the pump, or what have you. I'm not really sure. But I was able to, when I changed the pump, that problem went away. So every winter now, I change pump. I obviously put a new pickup on it because it gets welded on there, as you can see. I don't know how good you can see that there, but I weld it pretty profusely on there so it won't break off. And I also replaced the intermittent shaft, the drive shaft between the oil pump and the distributor, so that way all that gets changed every year to where I shouldn't have an issue come the new year. So some neat little things that I've come up with over the years for trying to make stuff easier on me. All right, back to the time lapse. Okay, here's what I was referring to. As you can see, both of them are draining into the drain bucket. And as you can tell, there's no water mess anywhere. There's some splatter, but otherwise it's pretty well clean way to drain your block without making too much of a mess. Got a little too carried away there, ahead of myself, trying to get time lapse. Something I wanted to show you too is I run a reusable oil filter on this car. I got it from Pure Power. So if you're interested in one of those, you can look them up on their website online on Pure, P-U-R-E-P-O-W-E-R. But it as you can see, it's a standard. It's the oversized oil filter, if you will, for a small block Chevy. So it comes apart here and here. I've already broken it loose because it's a lot tighter than this. But what it is it's got a screen mesh filter on the inside of it, and it's got magnets inside the mesh, or in the mesh, to where you can see one right there. So you can keep an eye on, and then there's one right there. But you can keep an eye on your motor, so you ain't got to worry about cutting oil filters open or anything like that. But you can keep an eye on, make sure that you don't have bearing material or what have you, bombarding your oil filter. And it's something that you can kind of see. Maybe you can see an engine problem coming before it actually hits. I try and change my oil about every 50 passes. So I keep about a fairly regular close eye on it. I run Brad Penn 10W30, the green oil. It's what I ran for the last 5 or 6 years, and when I refreshed the motor 2 years ago, my bearings came out looking better than I've ever seen in a motor. But yeah, this is another little trick I got on the car. Like I said, it's a little pricey, but with prices going up and all, I would say in 20 oil changes, I've probably had this thing paid for, and it can keep going from here on out. So here's another neat little thing I've got on the car. So maybe now we'll get to the time lapse. We'll see. I might find something else neat that I'd like to share with you. All right, back with you. I think we're at a stopping point right now. My youngins are going to come here in just a second, and we're going to go get some dinner. So this will probably be it for today. This is probably going to take several days, and I may try and fit all this into one episode. So we'll see how editing goes, because I'm still very new with this stuff. But as you can see, got really far. Got everything off the front of the motor. Got the headers and exhaust off the car. Got the carburetor off. Got all the hoses and all connected with everything. So all I got left now is the torque converter bolts are already loose. I had already loosened them before I started today. So all I got left underneath the car is the transmission lines, the shifter, and the cross member underneath the transmission, and the mid plate bolts. There's one bolt on each side for the bolts the mid plate to the car. And once all that stuff's unhooked, we can hook the cherry picker and yank her on out. So got quite a bit done today in the amount of time I had. I had to go chase a oil pump drive shaft. AutoZone didn't even have it in the computer, so I had to run to the next town over, which is about a 15-20 minute ride there and back, so about a 45-minute round trip to go get me a new shaft, because I changed those when I changed the oil pump. But I got all that buttoned back together, and so I'll probably pour some oil in it here later on, so there'll be oil in it, and I'll prime it and all, because all the electrical is unhooked, so the batteries are sitting over there in the floor. The blue boxes down there, those are the 2 batteries that go in the back of the car. So there's no batteries in the car, so I'll stick my primer in there and prime the oil through it, just because of fresh brand new oil, and kind of cycle in some good oil in there while the motor kind of sits there until we get ready to put her back in here in hopefully about 2 months. So we'll see how it goes, but this is it for today, and I'll catch you when we get started on it next time.